all platforms that do not allow alternative app stores that Fortnite is present on and not complaining about.
Yeah.
Even if you want to buy V-Bucks through Xbox, PlayStation, they all have the same fee.
Oh, well, speaking of defending then, I saw, it's I guess a hot buzz topic right now with Apple banning Fortnite.
Oh, we're going to get into
I
this
knew
now.
this would come up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
think we all, knowing you guys, I think we're all in agreement
Let
on
me
this
just go
subject.
scream
So if
into
you
my
don't,
soundproofing top.
I don't think we're going to get much disagreement here, but
No.
Just for anybody who, the argument I was seeing last night, and the reason why I even chimed in on Twitter was because the baseline is flawed. You can own your hardware. Do whatever you want with your hardware. That's fine. That's what you bought. You do not own the software. You do not own the platform.
It actually says it in the TOSs.
Yeah. You
don't own
agree
the
to
software.
certain things. Yeah, you don't own it. That's not yours. And Apple is legally, obviously, well within the right to do whatever they want to do. That's their IP. Two, they're a business. They're a
What?
They're not a nonprofit. They're not a charity. They're not a nonprofit. They're a business.
You mean I've been
Three.
sheepishly following $1 trillion company all these years?
I mean, hey, you don't get to $1 trillion by just
Giving
giving out
everything away.
freebies
Giving
and stuff.
away stuff.
Yeah, but and what Drew was saying about like how common it is. This is exactly the same conversation we were having about Spotify for the exact same reason. Now instead of
I would
music,
say this is a worse argument than the Spotify argument.
Really?
I will make a bold claim here, but I have lots of evidence to back it up. Epic Games is being more hypocritical than Apple right now.
Ooh.
Far more hypocritical.
Keep talking, Drew. I like this, Drew.
Both Apple and Google banned Fortnite. Keep that in mind, because a lot of media outlets love leaving
everyone
that
was
part out.
attacking Apple, but then all of a sudden it's like you do know Google did the exact same thing for the exact same reason. Where's
Yes.
the pitchforks for Google? Nobody seems to be getting
and
mad at Google.
Let's not forget Epic Games is a $1 billion company owned by Tencent. And the irony of Tencent making a 1984 commercial is hilarious to me, because this is $1 billion. They own huge majority of mobile gaming. And the idea that they're standing up to a monopoly is ridiculous because of how much Tencent owns themselves that they're complaining about. And also, Apple App Store policy, Google Play Store policy did not change.
No.
There's not some rule that Apple decided, you know what, we want more money now, and that's why Epic got banned. That's not what happened. Their policies haven't changed basically for the past decade. Yeah. The revenue cut's been the same. The in-app purchases have been the same. There's been a few tinkering here and there, but the 30% thing has not changed.
Right.
What
Literally
changed was
has never changed. Like back to 2007 or 9 has never changed.
Whenever the App Store came out. Yeah, they chose 30% because that was an industry standard.
Exactly. And it was
That's
there
what
long
most
before.
platforms did.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Xbox does, PlayStation does, Nintendo does. All platforms that do not allow alternative app stores that Fortnite is present on and not complaining about.
Yeah.
Even if you want to buy V-Bucks through Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they all have the same fee. They're not complaining, though. They're not boycotting the consoles, but they are boycotting, the iOS and the hilariousness of it is Epic is the one who backdoored an update that allowed you to pay them directly, bypass the App Store rule.
Yep.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Absolutely.
This was
premeditated.
This was not a.
Yeah.
We thought it might be fun to lower Fortnite prices.
They saw the heat that was going down in Congress whenever all the execs were on the antitrust meetings, and they're like, "It's time, guys! It's time! Get the lawyers ready!"
My exact point. Woo! Guess what tech companies were not present at the antitrust committee? Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, all doing the exact same thing, verbatim, for what Apple and Google are doing. Yeah. Okay, even if you want to make the argument, which I've seen made too many times, Apple has a monopoly on the iOS App Store. Guys, they made it. you can have a monopoly on something
Drew,
that's yours.
Did you
just
know
like
that
Google
Ford
has a monopoly?
Motor Companies has a monopoly on all the Fords?
Nicholas, Drew has a monopoly on the Tailosive network. He has a monopoly on the talk channel. He has a monopoly on the game channel. He has a monopoly on the tech channel.
I guess we're changing the definition of
but
monopoly
not here,
now.
Folks. This is
he
a
has a
three-way partnership.
The biggest platforms that he has a monopoly, Nick. How's this fair?
Google has a monopoly on YouTube. Disney has a monopoly on Disney Plus. Netflix has a monopoly on Netflix. And even if your argument is, well, there's other streaming services you can use outside of Netflix. Guess what? There's other app stores you can use not to access iOS
and
because
also,
Apple's decided.
Guess what? Those app stores have the same rules as Apple. I don't understand.
Who would have guessed? It's almost like this is called an industry standard.
And Epic themselves does have a revenue cut on their own store. In which case, Epic is saying, no, if you wanna publish games on our store, we get a cut. But they're saying on the iOS App Store, we shouldn't get a cut. If you want to buy V-Bucks directly.
Know that.
It's literally the definition of a double standard.
Huh.
It's hypocrisy because, again, all the consoles are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You could argue monopoly. Microsoft has a monopoly on the Xbox game library. Sony has a monopoly on the PlayStation library. It's all the same argument. They're just not bringing it up because they're not part of the antitrust case. And they know bad press, because this was all done in the pursuit of how much can we lower Apple's revenue cut so we can increase our income, given they're willing to basically take away their own app because, again, Apple didn't want to ban Fortnite. They just intentionally broke terms of service, knowing it would get blocked. Epic is basically taking away their service and their games from their own fans, from their own community, in favor of go spam Apple on Twitter. That's what they did here. Which, in my opinion, is pretty scammy and pretty scummy in itself, of just saying, let's take our fan base instead of being like, we want to provide games for people that they enjoy to play. Yeah. No, take that away because we want to increase revenue by 10, 20%, and we would rather have all of our kids that are playing our games go spam Apple now.
Yeah.
That's what they did. And Apple's policy hasn't changed. They didn't treat them any differently than anyone else on the App Store. And again, Epic is not boycotting Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, even though they do the exact same revenue cut. So,
and
far
honestly,
more hypocrisy coming from Epic.
30% is pretty low. Like, YouTube takes 45%. And I didn't realize how impactful this is until, like, we're monetized now on YouTube, and we're still monetized on our audio podcast. And I did some digging, and our audio hosting service only takes 15%. And so that is unheard of levels of low, right? But I was comparing the revenue numbers between the two forms of income that this podcast does, and I was like, wow, YouTube is really low. And as I was digging, I was like, oh, this is 45% of the ad revenue that's just disappearing. So we're only getting to keep 55%. That's totally fine. Drew, you've built a whole career on that 45-55 cut. It works for lots of people. It's fair. It is pretty fair.
It doesn't cost anything to post videos.
You're not paying hosting services. You're not paying marketing. You're not paying for Marquez to do his YouTube originals. You're not. It's just that 45%.
And also, it goes back, and I know it's kind of like I'm making it a black and white thing, but there's some validity behind it. If you have a problem with all that, you know, the old saying of like, go make your own. Then you know, see how far you get on your own. You're not going to do it because either you don't have the resources or the market cap or both, and you can't.
It's almost like it costs money,
right,
or time to make a platform.
What?
Interesting.
I thought those were free.
And then again, like Google,
and it's
Apple,
difficult to make a big one.
All these companies, like
even Google couldn't make a social network.
This reminds me of the argument, and I have to side with the company again. This reminds me of the argument of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time to be monetized. You know, you can have your feelings about it, but there it is. If you don't like it, there's the door.
That's their policy.
Yep. That's their policy. And guess what? People adapt, got over it, did what they had to do, and it's done. My point of even bringing that one up is that when somebody has a problem with something, this is anti-blah. You're coming to the table with no problem, or with a problem with no solution, and you're not even acknowledging the fact that all these things do come at a cost that to maintain, to even grow on, and they're, again, for-profit company, and we're not getting charged anything. Us as a consumer, okay, us as the end user, Apple's taking 30% from the developer and whatever they make for it. I'm still paying $9.99 if I'm doing an in-app purchase. All the same, I don't really care. The same way, if I want to super chat something or whatever, like at the end of the day, like me as the guy who's spending money, as the person who's going to consume it, here's my $10 or whatever. Make it go. I don't care. I don't care how to divvy it up. That's between you. That's between you and the legal whatever. The consumer doesn't ultimately care.
Because at the end of the day, the developer was happy with the 30% cut.
But if
and
you
they made the app knowing that.
If you don't like it, get over it. I mean, and I know that's it's cold to say, but it's like, there's things I don't like about...
It's not new to the business world.
There's things I don't like about YouTube, and I adapt to it. There are things I don't like about the podcast and us getting paid. Right. I adapt to it. This is life. Like, just brooding and, this sucks. I don't like it.
Even outside of, like, app stores, book publishers have licensing fees. Movie studios have ownership fees.
My music have the same problem. Okay? There's a
grocery
reason why
stores.
musicians can't grow fiscally for the same reason. There's cuts that are taken on that side too. It's everywhere. If you want to use something for free and you want to get out there, and heck, I'm telling you that, like, I have to, and this is me paying people to distribute my music and stuff like that, and they still get a cut even after I have to pay some money. If you're using something for free, or you end up paying for a video game, or you're paying to distribute your audio, whatever, and there's a cut for it, you ultimately you agree with it then, and now that maybe you saw, maybe we can make more money, now you're just getting greedy. And okay, fine, consumers are not capitalism. All right, you want to get greedy, have at it, but make your own stuff. There are competitors to YouTube that just don't grow. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I think the YouTube example is more relevant than people think, because I've seen it brought up a lot that, well, iOS is huge though. iOS is half of the mobile community, and I'm like, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You guys, a lot of the time, have this, people have this entitlement of the App Store just fell from the sky one day, and that's just how it's here.
Yeah.
No, like, the reason you don't try to make your own mobile platform and your own App Store.
An ancient civilization, and they're like, the App Store descended from heaven one day.
It just fell from the sky, and there's a huge industry there, and it just happened to be consumed by Apple, right?
Tons
Apple
of people. Apple's paid out, what,
no.
$200 billion or something like that to developers?
Probably
more than that. I don't know how many.
Hundreds of billions. They created an industry that they build the hardware for. And here's some just hard facts that you can't work around.
Okay.
iOS App Store generates more revenue, pays out more revenue than the Play Store, despite being a smaller user base.
How dare you?
It's because it's more heavily regulated. There's more security built in. They do more manual reviews.
There's more trust.
And because of that, consumers at the endpoint have expressed they are more comfortable spending money on the iOS App Store. They are more comfortable investing in that because they know exactly what they're getting. There's no malware. There's very little scams. If there are, they don't last long. And because of that, that's why the app market's so big. It's not because it just happened to be big. It's because Apple's rules, their guidelines, and even with their revenue cut, has resulted in a successful app market. We know people personally, I know in the three of us, we know people personally that from their own homes decided to make an app and made thousands of dollars off it.
Yeah.
And we know Lumafusion, over dozens of game companies, hundreds, thousands of game companies that are now, full-time employing people, and they did all of that with the 30% cut. So if you're trying to make the argument that the App Store can't be successful, or game devs or devs in general can't be successful because of this cut, look how big it is. Look how huge this app market has become. Look how many careers have been born from it. There's an app for that. All of that still had the 30% cut. So you can't really make that argument that it can't be successful when there are so many people that are. And again, the reason Epic won't make their own mobile app store, they won't make their own hardware and software is because they know, well, that's just unrealistic. It's too big. It's too expensive. Okay, so now you're going to use someone else's. You are profiting off of someone else's creation. And Apple's happened to be one of the most successful ones of all time because of what they chose to do. Manual review, only allowing apps from the iOS App Store. And if you're saying, well, they should allow alternative app stores, Google does, they should do those other app stores, it has resulted in more malware, more sketchy apps, less trust from the consumer, and less revenue generated. So you're saying if Apple allowed alternative app stores, that would be nice because I don't want to use the iOS App Store. You're saying be more like the more unsuccessful platform. You should be more like the Android platform, which has less revenue spent and less people trusting the platform as a whole. You're basically saying we should by law force Apple to make a more unsuccessful industry.
Why is it now? Like this is
Good
why
job,
it's
Drew,
all.
by the way.
This is
Thank you.
is all a. This is a stunt, a publicity stunt. Because why is it now a problem?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is, and then I think
Because of the antitrust hearing. That's exactly
what I
why.
was saying on Twitter last night too. It's like notice I was like, only now a problem? Like this is not really a problem. People, this is artificial noise. This is artificial anger.
This is people being cooped up at home, unemployed, and angry at life, and so they're gonna go.
What I think it is
carry on with anything.
Is Epic seeing their numbers go down.
Sure.
If you search Fortnite relevance over the past several years, less and less searches, less and less downloads, less and less people being interested in the app. It's still a very big game. I know that. I'm just saying decline is going down. And similar to Fortnite shutting down, I think it was earlier this year where they just said, okay, the game is over for a few weeks, and then they come back with Chapter 2. It's the exact same approach, just with more legal jargon and with more upset, because now instead of Fortnite just ending or shutting down, they get to say, hey guys, Fortnite is gone and it's Apple's fault. They did this to us.
Yeah, this is
Despite
completely premeditated.
Mm-hmm. This is all on Epic's side. Yeah. Apple didn't change anything. Epic successfully launched the mobile app years back and made millions, if not billions of dollars off of it. And they're just now seeing, okay, not that many people are downloading or numbers aren't looking good. This will pique our interest. Now everyone's talking about us. And also we get this advertisement of, hey guys, V-Bucks are only this much now. They get to show that everywhere.
Yeah.
It's literally just a giant mass marketing campaign in the shape of App Store unfair, despite everyone doing, they never had this problem with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo.
Sure. What a coinky-dink.
What a coincidence. I'm annoyed by the whole story. I think Spotify has a better case because they can argue that, well, Apple introduced Apple Music and now they're not letting us advertise our option. There's an argument to be made there. But Apple does not have their own version of Fortnite. Apple does not try to give you V-Bucks in-house and make money that way. No, this is all on Epic. This has nothing to do with any of that.
Imagine that we're playing 4D chess right now, and this is all one big marketing play to get us to use Apple Arcade.
Ooh,
it's not working very well.
It's not working. Well, Apple One might change that.
Hey there, I'm Nick. You made it to the end of a Tailosive. Sorry, that's my mother. Yeah, Mom? No, I didn't take out the garbage. Mom! It doesn't even come till tomorrow. Can I do it in the morning? Can I do it in 5 minutes? I'm in the middle of recording my podcast outro! Okay, thanks. I love you too. You're the best ever. Bye. And make sure to click subscribe to our YouTube channel to prove to my mother that I'm worth something in life.